Okay, everybody, we're gonna try for the third time today. This is gonna create a lot of videos, a lot of different streams in my list of recorded videos. This is our third stream for tonight. Hopefully, it's working. It looks like it should be, but I should probably check through Twitch and get an affirmation from you guys. Do we have a number of viewers? 42. Is it current? I'm not getting that weird message. Alright, that's the current position that you're seeing there. So anyway, we're going to go on here in the game. Bishop d8, a strange move. Not ridiculous strange. Mr. Coffee prepares b4, bishop e7. The computer's just moving back and forth. And then we execute our b5, which is strong. We want to create a target. Let's try to keep it simple. Bang, b5. No need for any other preparation, Mr. Coffee. Good job. The question is now what to do. You know, it's tempting to play like queen a4, maybe knight a4. No, let's see. a4, queen a4, that's all the pieces we can put in a4. We could just exchange on c6, try to penetrate along the b file. But it's a tricky position because we have to consider, does black have any counterattack on the king's side with this knight coming like to here? Limited attacking chances really for black here. I think Mr. Coffee's got a good game. Rook b1. Good waiting move, basically. Rook b8. And that move is allowing bc when black can't recapture with the pawn. So this is basically a serious blunder. It's Thursday the 13th. Exactly. Got a couple messages here. Did anybody? Okay, you can skip the game, says Nils. Alright, Nils, we'll skip Nils's game. He has to go. Nothing we can do about that, man. Sorry about the Twitch problems. Mr. Coffee exploits this bad rook move. Pawn takes pawn. Queen takes c6. And now queen c8 was played. So this is really like Shredder on weak mode move. What did I say? Weak mood? Weak mood mode. Hard to say weak move mode like 100 times in a row. Alright, weak move mode. That's really hard to say. It's not just that I'm dyslexic. I am that too, but never was until recently. Alright, queen c8, just a crazy random move. And Mr. Coffee's just owning the thing now. It looks like this is going to be brutal. So that was kind of an unnecessary and stupid way to win the game, though, for Mr. Coffee. I mean, what good is the handicap level of this thing if it just makes an insane move? You know, one insane move was enough, I think, but not to recapture on c6 here. I mean, we have to recapture on c6. And white doesn't have a clear win, you know, and that's the thing that doesn't make sense. You know, it played like a 1900. It played rook b8. Why doesn't it recapture on c6? And now I'm forced Mr. Coffee to execute here. You know, we've got to find a way to win this position. We have two bishops. They're starting to look good a little bit. This one's kind of still buried, but it has potential. Flash is gone. Yes, now we can get started. Now we can, yeah, let's go over some other games, or let's just, you know, do crazy things and have fun now that he's gone. No, Mr. Coffee, I think this is over. Knight b5, we've got attack on a7. We're going to break through the b5 square. Very large advantage. But it's kind of a pity the way the computer kind of melted down. Just for the sake of completeness, this is what happened. So take castles. Obviously you have queen a4 check. I don't know if you considered this, Mr. Coffee. It doesn't look like it does anything dramatic. Probably you looked at it, dismissed it after king f8. But it's not a small matter, you know, to take away black's. It's not a small matter to take away black's ability to castle here. You know, that rook not being able to enter the game properly would be nothing. Castles, and now a4. I mean, my first thought here is to trade rooks and take the b file. You know, so I think that's probably what you should do. He wants to play, I guess, what are you going to do? a4, a5, a6? I'm not sure what a4 does exactly. This guy's challenged me to blitz. a4 is not a terrible move. Plays a6, a5. Now, We're threatening rook b6, which would be... That would be paralyzing. Here, ugh. Knight b6, also good. Alright, dude, I'm gonna have to ban you if you keep challenging me to 3-0. Take a hint, you know, if someone doesn't accept your challenge, they probably don't want to play you. Alright, queen c6 here. This is over, man. It's a slow over. Not too much to say about this. So it's trying to get something going on with bishop takes, f2 check. But even that isn't a threat. Kind of insane. Mr. Coffee will have none of it. And then the computer just plays rook takes b6. Maybe Mr. Coffee missed this. Whoops. Alright, dude. You're getting the ban hammer. Let's just do it, man. You're getting the ban hammer. Open link in new tab. Let's ban him up. You just have no etiquette, man. You can't just keep challenging people. Alright, you're blocked. No more challenges from him. He's officially blocked. Good thing I'm not playing today, because I do have kind of bad lag. So Mr. Coffee has to sack his queen now. Oh my god. Luckily it works. A takes B, queen takes A4. Kind of feels like, oh, I got lucky. This works. That wasn't really what we were planning on doing. Astrobate is enjoying the show. I might as well watch a movie offline. Can't even see the stream. But now you can't see the stream again? You're telling me it doesn't work now again? Or just Astrobate? Or, I mean, just Too Sharp? Oh, no. I would try refreshing if the stream isn't coming up. Too Sharp. Twitch has been really weird tonight, so I wouldn't trust it as far as I could throw it. Momentarily. So Mr. Coffee says Queen A4 was the point. Okay. So it was an intentional sacrifice. But it does look like Twitch is down again. I don't know what we're gonna do, guys. It's very, very slow to load. I'm trying to see if I can watch my own stream here. It is on though. It looks blurry. It's coming in now. Arsenal, like, all the Twitch streams were down, man. It's not about my bandwidth. This has been a night-wide problem with all the Twitch streams. Nothing changed about my settings here. It's clearly a Twitch problem, Arsenal. You can just hear me. Every Twitch stream is down, Arsenal. It wasn't just mine. You can go to downdetector.com if you want to and check it, you know. It's not about me, man. You can go and see there's been reports of Twitch down for everybody. It's not my bandwidth. It's a Twitch-wide problem here. It looks like we're able to stream in like fits and starts. Right now it looks like it might be working. Does it change if Stockfish is off? Everybody, you're convincing people of this fake reality. Norwegian Chess Giant, what's up? So this was Mr. Coffee's point. Am I still live? Seems to be sort of working. I mean, we'll just try to muddle through, but stop blaming me for it, you know? Alright. So queen takes a4. This was kind of a weird methodology by Mr. Coffee, though. I don't think I would have bothered with knight a4. I would have stuck my rook here and just proceeded from there. I mean, rook b6 looks very strong. 1 minute we're good, and the next minute it's down again. You know, and people are like, oh, it's this, it's that, it's the other thing. But it's not. You know, it was working fine last stream, and now Twitch has problems. We can try to make up, but we'll just have to kind of go with it. So rook b6. I like this approach better. Anyway, we'll see the rest of the game. Move on to the next game because this has been too long. All right. So anyway, queen c6 here, knight h5, rook b1, bishop here. We saw this. He sacks his queen. We take on c7, queen d7. And now bishop a5, queen c6, rook b8, and now we get him to actually have to sacrifice his queen. Black's gonna have to sacrifice the queen. Well, I mean, you know, any kind of program that you're running is gonna slow down your computer a little bit. But I use Stockfish all the time. Here, this is over. Okay, good game, Mr. Coffee. All right, let's go back to the next game. So Nefedov, where is Mr. Nefedov today? He's at work, presumably. Alright, where is that? Actually, I don't see Nefedov's game. I must be missing something. Let's just go to my messages here. Yeah, let's focus on chess instead of trying to distract all this stuff. Inbox. Where is Nefedov? Here it is. So, Nefedov Philidor defense, you're not going to make me do this. He's going to make me analyze his game against me. Really? Wait. I assume no more e4, e5 against me. No, I'm not going to analyze my game where I lost in the Philidor. Nefedov against GM chess coach. Alright. I don't know anything about GM Chess Coach. It's a very original name. So let's see how our video is doing. Ping of 136, not that high. Kind of average. Nefedov versus Chess Coach. Kalashnikov Sicilian, which I don't think I've ever played against Nefedov. Knight takes d4, e5. Knight b5. And now the beginning of the Kalashnikov with d6. You can play the Ulf Anderson Lowenthal, like a6 check. Bishop takes d6, queen takes d6, queen e7, for example. It's actually kind of an improved version of the Lowenthal. You know, the traditional Lowenthal with queen f6. I mean, I don't know who invented this, but I know that Ulf Anderson used to play this all the time in Blitz. It's like probably better than queen f6, actually. Kind of funny. We're live. What did I just do? I just closed my Twitch like an idiot. Alright. Subscriber stream. We're going into the Nefedov game here, but I've got to reload my Twitch page. So I just clicked a crazy random button. Sorry about that, guys. We're here. d6. In the Kalashnikov. Now knight on 1 to c3. This is the critical moment. I mean, a lot of people swear by c4. in this position. And honestly, I never liked it that much. There's also the crazy bishop g5, right? It's a funny variation I saw. I don't think it's very good for white, though. Like, black probably takes that bishop and plays like knight c7 check and then king d8. And this is probably better for black. Very good score. The Soviet Chess Conveyor was the name of this book that they had a lot of random opening ideas in. I remember this was one of them. So I tried to click something, but I clicked the wrong thing, and I sent my Twitch page reeling. Alright, let's see how it looks on Twitch now. We're up. So that's just a random idea. Nefedov plays knight on 1 to c3. And now a6, knight back. And it's similar to the Sveshnikov, obviously. b5. Knight to d5. Now you could transpose the Sveshnikov here with knight f6. Which, you know, that's the most natural move in the world, except for the fact that it allows bishop g5. So I don't know too much about the theory here, but it appears that knight e7s are the way of avoiding the theory of the Sveshnikov. But Arsenal fan, that's why I don't like the c4, because it does give up the dark squares a lot. I mean, I remember when this opening was like born in the early 90s. I remember being surprised that someone played it. There was this guy playing it in the New York Open, Mikhail Braude, and he played it against several people, like strong grandmasters, and just bamboozled them. They didn't know what was going on. In the queen e7 position, I don't know. I have to look at that. Knight d5 here, so apparently this is standard. Bishop g5 is an obvious move. I mean, I don't know what happens on that. h6 or f6. f6 apparently. Apparently this is not even dangerous for black, judging by the score. So we have instead now c4. Nefedov knows the theory. He's getting better theoretically. Yeah, black's kingside has not developed. Knight to d4. And then c takes b. Sacrificing pawn like in Sveshnikov variations. I don't know anything about this theory. Knight takes d5, e takes d5. It looks like a Sveshnikov. What is that line? The knight d5 line? Where this happens? No, the c4 line of the Sveshnikov, where they play c4 instead of c3. There's a pawn sacrifice similar to this. But apparently this is all standard. I mean, there's already been an exchange of pieces. And then knight c2. This is a shocking position. So chess coach can be forgiven. You know, apparently bishop g4 is a very strong move here. One would assume that f3 wouldn't be a big deal, you know. Okay, we all see that bishop g4, you know, queen takes g4, knight takes c2 check, king d1, knight takes a1. Is possible. I mean, is this... And it's over, because like queen takes g7, you have bishop f6. I would assume this is pretty bad. What's the material at the end of the day? White is down a rook. You know, and I don't know that we're going to be able to recoup this knight on a1. So, that's not an option. Chess coach maybe not that familiar with the opening, like me playing things that he shouldn't play against Nefedov. Alright, I don't know anything about chess coach, but he didn't know about bishop g4 here. C takes b5, knight takes d5, bishop b7, knight c2. Now black could have played bishop g4. And if you played f3, why is this so bad? I mean, obviously black has bishop h4 check possibilities. So bishop h4 check is the point. That's pretty bad. Yeah, that's actually quite strong. So you can't play g3 because knight takes f3 check. Or even bishop takes f3 for that matter. Might be strong. I'm not sure. Yeah, this isn't good. So Nefedov, without knowing the theory, walks into a very strange blunder there. I mean, if black doesn't know this cold, of course he doesn't see bishop g4. He castles. He's also playing a simul, so he doesn't have too much time. Plays a natural move. Knight takes d4. And now what? Bishop d3. Nefedov's not really interested in grabbing material. He's basically just giving this pawn back, and he's going to play a position where it's like 6 pawns against 6 pawns, where white has maybe even a tiny structural advantage. Queen 5 check is another possibility, but I don't think it's as appropriate as bishop h4. Alright, so he castles, black plays what? A takes b5, white castles, and now, yeah, I mean, this is a really strange move, b4. Okay, you've got to protect the pawn, but I mean, extending it to b4 looks inherently risky. Every time you move a pawn, it becomes more vulnerable and gives up more squares. So, chess coach should just play a solid move. Plays b4. Okay, he's kind of freezing the a2 pawn. There's some logic to this, you know, that he's played b4, he's making a4, a3 not possible, kind of making the a2 pawn backward. Essentially. Nefedov with a very primitive attack here. I mean, he can play queen there, create some weaknesses, but does he really have an attack? Okay, maybe on h6, bishop takes is crushing. So you have to play g6. I mean, this is clearly lights out. Like here, that's a disaster. I mean, black's going to be losing that pawn for nothing. So, bishop takes no way to defend against the mate threats against h7. No good. b4 is weakening, but this is still not that clear. Nefedov just backed off. Queen f3, and now black played bishop g7. I don't know. I mean, it seems kind of equal. Though it's hard for black to get his pieces in the game. Not easy. Alright, let's move along here. Bishop g7, bishop f4. Bishop, queen b6, queen g3. So there's a problem with this pawn now. Like in the Benoni. We got to give Nefedov credit for not making any sort of mistakes, other than that one misstep in the opening. He's played very solidly. He blockaded with bishop d3. He's left black with a weakened structure, the more weakened structure. So I think it's really a good game. Targeting the pawn on d6. And now, yeah, you can't really protect that again in a convenient way. I mean, rook d8 looks like the kind of move you don't want to play. You know, you really just don't want to put your rook on d8. I would have found bishop b7, because honestly, this pawn is lonely, it's unprotected. This seems very logical to me. Maybe he wasn't convinced about this, though. What are we going to do? I mean, chess coach must have seen rook d8 and then bishop c7 and been like, I don't want any part of that, you know. And so how am I going to get this pawn back? But what does black play here? Like rook e8? And maybe it's not that easy for white to protect the pawn on d5. This is the final point, you know, I guess. Bishop c4. Bishop c4 practically only move. I wonder what's going on here. Do we dare to turn on Stockfish? Face backlash from the viewers. d3. Oh, the b2 pawn. Alright, we had our peek at the oracle. I don't want to get criticized. d3. With counterplay, I suppose. That was difficult to judge. And so chess coach did instead b3 right away. The theme of weakening the pawns more and more. Theme of black's play. Nefedov plays simple chess, a3, very solid, and then bishop a6. Challenging the blockader. I mean, admittedly, like bishop b7 seems a bit more natural here. So bishop a6, bishop takes d6, winning a pawn, rook e8, rook takes rook, vacuum cleaner style, rook takes rook, bishop b4. So at the end of the day, white just has this monster passed pawn, secured by the bishop on b4. And it just doesn't look like black ever gets out of this. Really nice game. Well, that's a problem. You know, you could play bishop, you could play d6, but black can probably hunt that down. Still, that's probably strong as well. And I imagine that white has a choice here. Both d6 and queen takes b3. Is there something wrong with d6? Well, he has d3 there. We'd have rook d1, and we're still in business. So I think that Nefedov could actually choose either of these continuations with a serious advantage. Let's see how the stream is doing. Uh-oh. Looks like it's a little sketchy. Pretty slow to catch up. We got a significant delay in the stream. They're gonna blame that on me, but it's not me. I'm telling you guys, we didn't increase our stream delay. We're a little behind though. Is it still catching up? There we are. Basically like almost a 1 minute delay. This would hold on for black apparently. Alright. No, but a good job by Nefedov. He didn't give him any chance to do that. He just takes and takes that b3 pawn. If you're playing a Grandmaster, you can take a pawn, take it. That's the advice here. Bang. And that's over. Just make Luft and you're winning. That's it. Game over. Resigns. Good game, Nefedov. Terrorizing titled players on a regular basis. Okay, guys, let's see how the stream is doing. Are we back here? We've got 41 viewers. That's actually more than usual for the subscriber stream. We need more outages like this. Hopefully we'll get to as many games as we can. I can't promise we're going to get to them all due to outage city. So, who's next? Asterbate is next. Where is Mr. Asterbate's game? Check with really cool. You want to look at Karpov Sicilian today. You can't find the game. Anyway, Clash Kid, it's probably too late. With all this outages, I'm not sure I'm going to get to all the games. Check Benoni with really cool checkmate. Alright. So, we don't want a computer analysis. It's alright. Asterbate is black here. And hopefully next week things will be working normally again around here. Why do they do this? Why does it do this to me on my subscriber stream? It's my hardest stream. Well, actually the Simul would be worse. Yeah. It wouldn't be so bad if this outage happened on a Blitz day. But I've got to analyze the game. It's kind of labor intensive. You can pop out of the chat from the Twitch stream and then close the tab and have only the chat. Right. 40 viewers. Alright. Sorry guys, we're running a little bit late today. I meant to make black black here. What's going on? Why can't I see black? I don't think my lag is connected to the outage on Twitch. Maybe on Saturday, Soltigo and I can brainstorm ways to decrease the lag here. Alright, so d5, e5, f4. Hyper aggressive move. You gotta give white credit for that. Really hyper aggressive move. I mean, I've looked at this in analogous positions where black plays like, let's say, I don't know, e4, d6, and then f4. Surprisingly, there's no games there. It's a little surprising. No, the e4 pawn's just hanging, never mind. He has to protect this pawn. What are we doing? So knight c3, let's say, d6. I want to say d6, and now e4, and now, you know, bishop e7, f4. We've talked about this, and the really important factor, I think, is the e5 square. You know, black can get a good grip on the e5 square with his pieces, then he retains a solid defensive position. So takes on e4, f4, excuse me, that sort of thing. Vita Levente lost. That's not a good sign, but he probably pushed the envelope there too much. Check Benoni not really recommended at the Grandmaster level. I can skip your game, there's not enough time. Don't worry about Astrobate. It's not a long game. So this is interesting. f4. I wonder how I should handle this. I mean, maybe you should take on f4, despite the fact that it's developing a bishop for him. You know, this is the same point. We're basically taking on f4, and we're going to use the e5 square for our pieces. If you let him take on e5, you're playing a different structure altogether. So it feels like you're developing white's pieces for them, but maybe this is the best solution in the grand scheme of things. Basically transposed to that kind of thing. With d6. What does Stockfish say? Is black better? Oracle, answer me. Computer is claiming it's equal. More or less equal. I think it's a cleaner way to play the structure for black. Yes, it's counterintuitive to take on f4, but in the game, you know, you see the structure that can arise here. After f4, d6, he would normally, I would assume, take on e5, take toward the center. It's a much more complicated structure for black to play. You've got white with a protected pass pawn. It's gonna be really a long, very complicated struggle. Very closed position too. I mean, to me, this pawn feels very strong after f takes e, and that's a long-term strength. Even king and pawn in the game is like lost for black, if we want to go there. Knight c3, bishop b7, f takes e5, you know, d takes e5. So what I'm saying here is that like many king and pawn games would be lost. That's what you need to know. You know, you transpose into the endgame, the white pawn becomes extremely strong. Alright, so d takes e5, e4, castles, knight f3, and now the question is, what do we do? It's very funny, this is an f3 Nimzo. It's an f3 Nimzo where black played the move c5. That's not a good sign. It's an f3 Nimzo where you played like c5 instead of bishop c5 or something like that. That's kind of messed up. I don't love this too much. We can play bishop g4. That's out of the f3 Nimzo. But we don't really want to sell our white-squared bishop, do we? I would pay a lot of money to have that diagonal open for the e7 bishop. So this is an awkward position. It looks like Astrobate just sacrifices his e5 pawn here. Who I don't really understand. Instead of d6, why not bishop d6? You want to get creative? It's the snake Benoni. I don't have any problem with bishop d6. I mean, that looks like a good move, to be quite honest. That's IVYM's suggestion. In this position particularly, unlike the normal snake Benoni, we're actually pressuring f4, practically forcing white to do something. And then we have the standard snake Benoni plans, you know, going out to e5 or coming back here. I think this is absolutely fine, a fine alternative. Alright, let's see the game. So, bang, bang, bang. Now we had this structural problem. There's a problem with the pawn is just hanging. So, Astrobate, you can't just give him this pawn. You have to defend it, and there's no good way to do so. Maybe the lesser of the evils is to play bishop g4 and give the guy up. You know, just give up the ghost and then try to play something like knight e8 next and bishop g5. Trade off that. I don't really have a better suggestion. I'm not really thrilled about knight d7 either. But I don't see why he can't take this pawn here. He was afraid of ghosts. Is there any kind of counterplay for black? I mean, bishop f6. This isn't sound. Yeah, we turned the oracle off, but I mean, I just don't. Yeah, with the oracle turned on, I mean, it's going to take this pawn. So Astrobay was generous. Probably your best bet is something like bishop f6. Try to damage his pawn structure. You know, I don't know. But trading pieces isn't really helping. And then white gets greedy and plays queen h5. You just don't appreciate what you've got here. Like a free pawn, a strong center. This move, what does it lose by force? Queen h5, g6. Game over, right? Astrobay was being too dogmatic, and he didn't want to calculate, you know, simply a one move threat. No, that's just ridiculous. Knight d7 was bad, and now you could have won a piece. I don't mind trading; it's the second best move, probably. You actually have multiple ways to win a piece, right? You could go here. Maybe this doesn't work because of queen g5, queen f4. Whatever, but yeah, I mean g6 just wins a piece there. And instead of this move, while it's not a bad move to try to get control of e5, you might think about bishop here. Because this is basically a fianchetto, like a very powerful fianchetto with the bishop on the right diagonal. Well, whatever you do, just don't let white play e5 effectively. Now he plays g6. It was against his religion when it wins a piece, but now he doesn't want to do it. That it doesn't win anything. Alright, queen f3, knight g7. Oh, that knight is bad. It's bad. But we've got to stop e5. This is very bad for black. Just down a pawn. Still, this is an important battleground square. a6, castles, b6. Astrobay is very, very obsessed with the rook transfer lateral idea. White, for his part, is going to have trouble winning this game as long as he doesn't have control of the e5 square. Basically, his queen side is blockaded. Like, the queen side is blockaded. And white's advantage consists of this avalanche in the center, which is happening or isn't happening. And I think that's an important factor. So, like, bishop f4, probably just going here. Essentially fighting for the e5 square and neutralizing the bishop on d6. White played bishop d1. That's not necessary. I mean, why don't we just play this? You know, and we have a good game. With the other rook coming over here. I mean, maybe bishop d1 is a cute move, but you're blocking your rook at the moment, so you probably want to get that in the game first before you do anything fancy like bishop d1, bishop a4, what have you. Fancy moves. Astrobay found the square. That's good. Yeah, here, I don't know. He just weakened his diagonal. My first instinct was to play queen d6 and just get a really ironclad blockade of the dark squares. Someone's suggesting f5 instead of b6. Mr. Arsenal fan, you would be like going in a much more traditional trajectory when you suggest f5. But on the other hand, you know, it's this classic break, but it's going to change the dynamics of the position a lot. You know, I mean, right now, it seems like this pawn is kind of getting in white's way, essentially. So you might want to think twice about whether or not to go ahead and play f5. It's a classic kind of King's Indian break, but in this exact position, I think the first priority for black should be, you know, just blockading, accepting the fact that he's a pawn down, and maybe just trying to get a really firm control of these squares. I don't mind b6. You know, let's see what the oracle says. The oracle says f5. So b6, how bad is it? Well, my suggestion of bishop f4 is best. At least I'm right about one thing. But maybe Arsenal's move is like logical in the sense that if we don't do it now, we never will. In other words, once white goes bishop f4, there's this avalanching e5. Maybe black doesn't have time to allow it. In other words. But f5 is definitely double-edged. Black isn't all that well developed either. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the white bishop comes out. We're down a pawn. Alright. This is like a one-move threat. He plays g3. Another one-move threat. And then queen h3. Feels like black is just fishing. But he may have a very serious threat. He may have some sort of knight h5, right? Bishop g4 followed by knight h5 on the move. I mean, it looks like this basically works. We're threatening this kind of cheapo with bishop g4 at the moment. So white played rook b1. Why can't we play bishop g4 here? Is the problem that it doesn't do anything? The greater problem is that it doesn't do anything. So bishop h5, or sorry, bishop g4, queen d3. Oh, white can just, wait, you can just take on, what's going on here? You can just take on c3. Aw, dude. This just wins a piece. So Asterbay didn't calculate. He just played like knight h5. Just take a piece here because f1's hanging. You should take the piece while you got it. Smoke him while you got him. Instead, he just kept building the attack. Maybe white can protect this. See, white has a chance to defend now. He just didn't see it. I mean, his move actually makes some sense. He played queen g2, but it doesn't work. He has several defenses, bishop e2 or knight e2. He missed knight g3. It's a very pretty move, though. Asterbay gets all credit for this. Very pretty move, knight takes g3 check. That's nice, dude. You gotta give him credit for being an artist. Even though the game wasn't correct, the finish is always correct. And sadly, he didn't let you play it out till mate. Alright, nice game. But the greater importance is playing, you know, quality from beginning to end. I admire the picturesque finish, but the bottom line is you dropped your e5 pawn for nothing. And, well, you know, that left you in a very big hole. And to have to dig yourself out of a hole is not really fun, you know. So don't get yourself in the hole. Take your time, Asterbay. You're still playing too fast. That's my refrain, guys. Thank you for supporting the stream. We had a donation from Merle Dixon today. He's donated 321 bits. I'm sorry for the stream hiccups today, but I can't control things on the Twitch end. It looks like they had some issues. Dim with 300, Nil Swint with 271 bits donated. You guys can also make a donation. If you click under donations via Steam Labs, you can make a donation via PayPal to support the stream. Was a nice finish, though. We give you credit for that. Alright, so Merle Dixon is up next. Mr. Merle, the donator of the week. He donated 321 bits today. You played an opening I never studied. So, he played an opening I never studied, started flailing in the middle game. The GM let his time run out intentionally, even though I offered a draw when he had about 1 minute left. So what was this? Stockfish gives me just 2 inaccuracies, but I spotted at least 2 more moves, which made me scowl. Your critique would be greatly appreciated. Let's see. So this Bernatsky guy, I guess he was playing here. Bernaditsky. How do you say it? Bernatsky, Vitali? I'm not sure. I think he was playing in the Budapest Spring Open. Alright, it's a young guy. I mean, everybody's a Grandmaster nowadays. They're just handing out the title like candy. It's never been so easy to get the GM title. I should really go after it if I had any money. and not so many responsibilities. I would seriously, now is the best time of my whole life probably to become a grandmaster, but we have too many responsibilities to you guys now, to my real life. What's up? Where's the chess panda? Hey guys. Yeah, William has to take care of me, so he doesn't really have time to play too many tournaments and chase that grandmaster title right now. But maybe in his next life, he'll be a GM. Alright guys, that's a funny joke. I'm moving the stream. I'm sorry guys. I just picked up the wrong... Oh my god, what did I do to the stream? Should be back to normal now. So this is a 1020 casual classical game from the Bernadsky Simul. I want to say Naroditsky. Alright. So he let his time run out. I mean, it was a simul. He was probably flagging on all boards or something. Maybe you can see his many resources, Merle Dixon. At the end of the day, it looks like you played better than he did. 2 inaccuracies. Merle is very solid. Who's after Earl? That's you, Arsenal. And then Soltigo. What time is it anyway? I changed my settings on my desktop so it doesn't show the bar at the bottom all the time. It's like invisible. I have to click on it. It's 8 o'clock, so we got plenty of time left. We've got an hour left to stream. It seems like with all that chaos with the start, we've been streaming for longer. But in reality, we've only been streaming for an hour and a half. We still have an hour left. That's plenty of time. So if any others submitted games, I'll have time. Yubatis actually wasn't on the original list, and I never put him on the list. So we'll do Yubatis. It sounds like a dance. We'll do the Yubatis. It's like the lambada. Yubatis. Alright. Arsenal's up next. So Merle is extremely solid. He supported the stream. We don't know anything about him. He's very anonymous. He's a zombie. Can someone borrow me his FIDE title just for 3 days? Yeah. I don't do anything with mine. Merle playing the French here. Let's see the opening explorer. I know nothing about this guy. Is he new to Elite Chess? Yeah. He's brand new to Elite Chess. So c5, c3, bishop d7. So this is one of many different moves Black can play. Knight c6 is like the most standard move, right? Queen b6 is also fairly common. But there's nothing wrong with bishop d7. I think one of my students actually used to play that. Knight f3, queen b6. So we transposed my last game with Hikaru Nakamura. I played this. I have no recollection of how the game went, you know? It was the only time I've ever played the black side of the advanced French in my life. Like, I think it was literally... I swear, it was literally the only advanced French I ever played in my life with black pieces, and I played it against Hikaru and lost. He made his final GM norm in that tournament. Trying to play bishop b5, of course, very standard. Bishop b2, and now Merle doesn't play bishop b5. Like just when you're expecting him to play bishop b5, he plays knight c6. You faked him out. The point is on bishop b5, White can play c4, right? There's some sort of pawn sacrifice here, you know. And again, I don't remember my game with Hikaru if it went like this or was something else. I'm sure that I played bishop b5. You know, this is well analyzed, and I guess it's supposed to be better for White. But again, I don't remember how my game with Hikaru went. It probably is in the database. Someone could dig it out. It was like 15 years ago. Hikaru was just a teenager, but a strong one. You know, GM title in hand. Knight c6. All right, now castles, and then I like the way Merle played this. I prefer also, you know, I like the 3 a.m. variation. I like knight h6. That's the move that keeps the tension, and that's like in the spirit of what I teach here. But there may be a problem with d takes c5 and some sort of b4. This is normally this Nimzovich type of thing where you're giving up the central squares. I'm giving up the center to get squares for the pieces on like d4 or e5. So it seems like this is the main line, to take here and then play like something traditional like knight e7. I've definitely seen this. You know, come to think of it, maybe I'm thinking of a different variation, but I have the feeling I saw a George Meyer game where he played this variation convincingly, but I might be mixing variations. Something very, very similar. Isn't this like standard? Knight c3, knight f5, knight a4, and then it looks passive for black, but apparently it's okay. Rosenthalis. Not too many games here though. Okay, I like knight h6 in principle, Mr. Merle. Apparently rook c8 is done okay. Yeah, so d takes c5 is the main move. This is kind of lame what he did now, b3. You could even go as far as to play bishop takes h6. But this is seemingly the best. I'm going to guess. To take here, force capture, and then b4. I mean, I've seen this before. And then I'm not really sure what black's doing. You know, I mean, the knight, if it comes to f5 in this type of position, it doesn't have really a clear purpose. I mean, there's no pawn on d4 fixed there to be a target or whatever. So I think this position is interesting. You know, probably I would go with this with white if I were Bernatsky. The computer is so desperate it's like playing bishop takes f2 check. Not in love with black's position here, to be honest. Bishop e7 apparently. And it's even possible to play bishop takes h6. But anyway, okay, the jury's still out on this. I think Mr. Earl should take a look at this and make sure he's okay with this occurring, because b3 looks kind of lame to me. Now we just get to transpose back to a normal position. You didn't take advantage of black's move order in any way. Knight f5 right away. Okay. Practically a novelty. I mean, there's one game with this move. Most people would play CD and transpose back into theory. I mean, b3, Arsenal fan, is a typical idea at times in these variations to put the bishop on b2. You also see a3, b4, and bishop b2, which is more weakening, of course. Alright, my old friend Horatio Saldano. So, b3, c takes d4 would be typical. Don't see a way to take advantage of this, though. Bishop b2. I like this for black. Now, you got a nice, solid setup. Already, it's like advantage to black, according to the engine. Bishop b7. This is ideal. Knight a3. You know, what is white doing? Now, Merrill Dixon played a6, but I don't, you know, this is like a paranoia type of move. He's not threatening anything, you know. What are you afraid of? Knight b5, knight c3, knight a4. He could play knight b1, knight c3 just as easily. So there's no reason to contain that knight on a3. Just don't really know what to do, though. I mean, is f6 possible? Yeah, then you have to worry about g4. Judging that is the French player's trick, man. I don't know. I don't really like a6. Bernatsky's just playing like standard moves. And then Merle Dixon played knight h4, which I didn't expect, you know. It seems like this is early in the opening. It's only move 12. You should be focusing on developing the pieces. Knight h4 is like moving an established piece that's on a good outpost. I don't really think that I understand why, you know, we want to go out on a limb and play knight h4 here. The problem is what to do, you know. I think the real problem is we don't really know what to do. I mean, if you castle, can't be a bad move. If g4, then you play knight h6 or knight h4, if forced to do so. But I think it's still too early to be moving the same pieces twice. And I also don't like a6. So it's just not that efficient. This is kind of random. Knight takes h4, bishop takes h4. Now he plays g3. You know, he's playing a lot of boards, so he's just making like routine moves again. The first move he can think of. I've been there, believe me guys. Here, you know, you would definitely expect White to be playing for this f4, f5 break at some point. And anyway, I mean, it looks natural. He's gonna slowly squeeze you with his space advantage if you don't do something here. I mean, that's the idea, right? Just spatially hug black. Now the guy played a very strange move, h4. Panda, can I talk to you for a minute? Got your favorite move on the board. Oh my god. You sounded a little bit like the Tribe Called Quest there, Panda. It's totally random, but true. Oh my god. Why h4 here? He's playing the King's Indian attack, okay? Because the f4 seems a lot more natural to me, you know, to play for the f5 break. I agree. You know, I think f4 is much more natural than h4. Of course, natural isn't always necessarily best. I guess I have to learn that. My mistake, you know, is that I don't try to, you know, I just try to play the best moves. I'm not practical like other grandmasters, other international masters, or what have you. h4. Just randomly gonna throw the pawn down there to h6. But I mean, this move has a purpose. Purposing. Okay, I didn't like knight e3, to be completely honest. You know, I didn't even understand why we need to play that. Like, so just f4 right away. And get the king off the diagonal. You know, so like king g2 and f4. We just squeeze black a little bit, you know, if we can. Okay, h4, still, it's not a bad, not a really destructive move for white in any respect. But Merle Dixon plays f6. Well, what was the word I'm looking for? Proactive approach. You see, this wouldn't have been as effective if White had played f4. This is a really star move, dude. Because okay, there's the routine rook on a to c8, but you're threatening absolutely nothing. If you play rook c8, you're putting the rook on the open file with no plan at all, more or less. So in order to find a plan, you have to use the pawn structure to generate, like, you know, breaks, and f6 is going to be your only break. Whew. Yeah, this is a very strong move. That should get like an exclamation point. It's a subtle move that, you know, goes against the classical advice of attacking the head of the pawn chain. And it weakens black's king side at the same time. So not an easy move to find. He takes here, take back with the bishop. And he just blundered because he didn't have enough time, apparently. I mean, maybe he saw the pawn was hanging, decided to play a Nimzovician pawn sacrifice with knight to g4. I don't know. But the pawn is now gone. So I also would have probably taken with the queen, Merle. Just to trade queens against the grandmaster, you know, feels like a safe default move. The engine likes knight takes d4 better, the oracle. Because I guess we're going to be threatening stuff with knight e2 and bishop e5. So let's say knight takes d4, rook e1. We've got the pressure bearing down on f2. Lots of it. I mean, seriously, if you play this move, knight e5, knight takes e2 check, here, bishop e5, White's playing an interesting exchange sacrifice. I don't think he has enough compensation. Apparently he has this move, staying alive, but this is not a happy moment for the grandmaster, obviously. Well, this doesn't work because the queen takes e5. That's a nice little trick. Winning the piece back there with queen d5. So anyway, interesting battle, guys. f6 was a star move. I mean, and you have to, judging that break is probably like one of the single hardest things to do as black in the French defense. Decide when to play f6. You know, I think it takes like years of experience beyond just calculation, you know. I don't play the French. I told you guys the only game I ever played was the loss against Hikaru and beating Volokiten's dad. Those are my only French defense games. Anyway, where are we? Queen takes d4. Rook c1. Now, another inaccuracy. Trading queens, a pawn up against Grandmaster. Crazy thing to do. So Merle didn't keep the tension as well as, I guess, you know, theoretically he could have. Some slightly more accurate move here. Apparently e5, you know, but that's a difficult move to play when you're playing a strong player and you're probably excited to be like trading queens a pawn up into an endgame against a higher rated player. I can't really criticize your moves, man. Queen takes d1. These are tiny inaccuracies. Rook f takes d1. Rook c8. Totally good move. He plays king g2. He basically just flagged in a pawn down position. Rook c3. And now h5. h5 I don't really like. The problem with h5, you're putting your pawn on the wrong color. You know, I mean, I don't think you want to put all your pawns. You already have 4 pawns on dark squares, Earl. So I like the engine suggestions here, both of which are better than h5. Do I have time to enter in a game and submit before the game is over? Before the stream is over? Move 11. I've got, let's see, 45 minutes left. So I'll put you on the list, okay? And if your game is in by the time that we call your name, you know, we've got Yabatis, and I can do Soltigo. And if by the time I'm done, you want to throw the game in there and we want to go over it, we'll have time. I think 3 more games is perfect. So move 11, you can be the last one. So here there's 2 good moves. King f8 centralizing for the endgame, and bishop e8. I don't like h5, fixing that pawn. Another liability for the bishop to have to protect that pawn on h5. Not really good. So, you much more flexible options here. Engine suggestions are excellent. You know, bringing the king to the center or playing bishop e8, stopping h5, stopping the expansion. I like that. I mean, this move might have some drawbacks. You know, he can turn the frontal pressure on this pawn on e6 maybe. So, I guess in a vacuum, I probably would have played something like king f8, brought it toward the center. Again, you're looking at lateral stuff, but I think your king is still here relatively safe. Okay, it's not clear that it's a winning position. Black is up a pawn. It's a very appetizing pawn because it's a central pawn. You have a crushing extra passed pawn down the middle, which looks like it should win the game. Okay, Soltigo, I will save your game for last, but move 11 is just entering his game now, so we'll see whichever one comes first. No, Arsenal fan, I'm sorry, you're up next. And so then we have plenty of stuff to do. No, not you, Arsenal fan. You asked too many questions and made too many comments today. I'm pissed at you. You're too interactive. It's too difficult. I'm not going to do your game. Absolutely going to skip it. There's no Arsenal fan today. Alright, so who was next? Also, here's my game. What do you mean, also? Oh, you put in 2 games. The season opener. Sounds like baseball. This is my season opener from last Thursday night. It felt a difficult position to evaluate over the board, and I lost an exchange. I would really appreciate it if you could take a look. I had to drink 3 pints just to forget about this game. Oh no, wait, it didn't say that. I just imagined that, Panda. Oh. Alright, let's go. No, I'm just joking around. Alright. Richard Smith. The Smiths. So, what do we got? Alright, I don't like looking at the inaccuracies first. Arsenal fan. Richie. The lifeblood. No, it's nice you keep the chat lively without being a troll. You know, it's very hard to do that. So, I appreciate you, man. Bishop g7, bishop e3, modern defense, and bishop e3. I'm really not an expert to tell you what the difference is between, like, bishop e3 and and knight c3 followed by bishop e3. I would think that anytime you play bishop e3, in almost any case where this move is being played, you're probably going to play knight to c3. But if you wanted to, you could transpose to the king's Indian. Like, in other words, if black plays something like d6 in the game, so technically you could play c4 here. There may be something wrong with that move, though. Some subtle way we can take advantage of move order. I guess f3, and you really want to play a king's Indian. You could get, like, maybe knight f6, c4, technically. So it's possible to play against the Pierce, to turn the Pierce into the king's Indian. I don't see any other real ideas. As far as delaying the knight c3, that's what the first thing that comes to mind here is what I'm seeing. You know, why is Arsenal fan delaying knight c3? It's kind of notable. c3 is just passive and not really it doesn't really have any value. Solid but passive. You know, once I saw this guy who he was like obsessed with playing c3. He would do like c3 and f3. One of my friends is making fun of this. It's like mixing systems, you know. It's just, maybe in the 1800s, I mean, you'd see like some kind of old school players doing that, but it's too passive. So bishop e2, okay, it's just going to transpose. This really should transpose to some kind of classical Pierce after knight f6. But your opponent played a6, playing more in the spirit of the so-called modern defense. So I try and be subtle in my trolling, yeah. I mean, the other thing you could do, you try to throw the Ponda attack. This is actually a line that I like against the Pierce. Just coffee house variation. Knight c3, and then a quick, like, bishop e2, h4, h5. Played sometimes here on Weird Wednesdays. Okay, so you decided to play a4. Listen, I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Normally, when you play bishop e3, you're going to be playing some kind of sharp knight c3 castles queenside. Clearly, Arsenal fan wasn't playing knight c3. He didn't necessarily have a plan to castle queenside. a4 is not a bad move. Black's going to play a kind of hippo, it looks like. That's what he does. So a4, b6, and now we played knight f3. Once again, I mean, my issue when I see b6, I'm thinking pressure on this pawn. It's not too late to play f3, dude, in this position, probably. That would be one way of solving your problems. Then if the bishop goes to b7, you can play like knight h3 and not worry about bishop takes h3. Still, you're going to put your knight on c3 here. You know, this is a control setup. You're not casting queenside, you're not playing crazy wild lines, but you're just kind of nullifying his bishops and keeping the space advantage. The Illuminati. c3, d4, e3. c3, d4, e4, f3. The pawn pyramid. So, knight f3, and now knight c3. He played knight d2. It seems exorbitantly passive to play knight to d2. The problem is he's going to play knight f6. I mean, what are you going to do? How are you going to protect this pawn? Well, then again, you had the problem anyway. I mean, though, if knight c3, you can play, as silly as this looks, you can play knight back to d2. Volodya Weissman against Todor Todorov. I lost a just crushing game I was so sad about against Todor Todorov. In a hyper-accelerated dragon, I had a good position and I lost. I was sick. The game just broke my spirit. This is actually okay to play knight c3, knight back to d2. Just one of those gut-wrenching losses that it just hurts you for weeks. Knight on bd2. Black does not put pressure on the center. That didn't make sense, you know. Now, because if he plays knight f6, he'd have kind of dual threats of attacking e4, going to g4. Here, knight h6. Again, doesn't make sense. Of course, at this point, you know, you can defend with various moves. I mean, you can play like queen b1 or pretty much anything. Bishop d3, losing a tempo if you want to. But I guess you could play like queen c2. The problem would be c-file. I don't know if you want to like get in trouble with that queen, the queen position along the c-file, you got to be a little bit careful. But he doesn't put any pressure on your center, so this is a very strange move, you know, knight h6. He's really thinking about playing f5, I suppose. But if he does that, you've got access to the queen b3, you've got access to knight g5. The computer is screaming out knight g5 right now, which is a wild move. Where does that even come from? This like threatens nothing, you know. I mean, I guess it threatens like h4, h5. Pondania. I think we should get like Ponda t-shirts, get my merch store opened up, and just get this h4 with a bamboo. It looks like a bamboo, the green arrow. Knight g5, interesting though. I would probably play the controlled like h3 here. Just keep him off of g4. And if he wants to go f5, that's his business. So you play castles. See, the problem is he can play knight g4 now. And I think he's okay after that. He's probably okay here. Bishop f4, he has e5 with tempo. So seems like you have to play this. And then he can play h6 or f6. Okay, his knight is a little bit messed up. No, they'd probably do something crazy like g5, bishop g3. And then have to reroute knight f6, attacking your pawn. Now you have to defend this pawn. And then you can play like knight h5, probably trade your bishop off. So it doesn't seem all that devastating, although better for white. You didn't stop knight g4. And now you found this idea of knight g5, which was interesting. Like, not that intuitive. I'm not sure I would have even zoned in on the idea of knight g5. This is the best move according to the oracle. Let me turn off the oracle. Because the flat earth people think that it slows down my stream. Alright, so what would I have done? Again, like played h3. You played knight g5. What's the idea mainly? I mean, I know that he can't attack it with f6. It stops knight g4. Yeah, that's a point. It's quite an unusual theme. You're sidelining his knight there. You know, probably the best thing black could do here would be to play like king h8 and knight g8. Admit that his knight is messed up. Okay, this is a reasonable move. e5, and then you went pretty berserk with f4. Trying to play actively. I mean, that's the thing about knight g5. It's not clear what your forward plan is. So he should take on d4. I don't mind f4. You know, it may not be the best move according to the oracle, but I don't see why not, you know, to play f4. I mean, that's one of the first ideas that popped in my head when I thought about knight g5. What does it do? It allows for f4. There may be some tactics for him, but I mean, I'm not really seeing it, you know. Take rook e8 with the idea of knight f5 or what? Let's see what it says. Yeah, this is reasonable. Kind of balanced situation. So knight g5, e5, f4. Apparently the engine says that d5 is better. Closing down the center. Now, oftentimes d5 is a mistake in many positions, kind of locking it up early. I mean, what are you going to play on this bishop f6? You have a tactic. You also have h4. Walter Brown did something like that against me. It was a King's Indian. It looks very strange to play h4. But actually, if you can play g3 next move, it's not a big deal, you know? It's not like you can exploit it. The Ponda in the house. Queen e7. Is this a long game? Okay, bishop c4. Yeah, here's an interesting point where he could have played knight to g4. That looks kind of messed up. I would have been freaking out about knight g4 here. Apparently you have a tactic. You just take... Oh, f7. Wow. So you were worried about dealing with c6. Yeah, I mean, this is standard. You know, what's the big deal? Like, why is d5 so strong? It certainly would have been my first thought, man. It's certainly not, you know. Dealing with c6, of course, he can play c6. Yeah, it's not that appealing. It looks like it hinges on a very tactical variation. Knight to c4, let's say cd, knight takes d6. And then I would presume, you know, he's gotten a good move. Everything's protected. So you got another question mark for bishop c4. But I don't think it's a bad move. It's the same thing as f4. Your question marks are kind of like playable moves. F takes e5 toward the center. You know, one thing I'm a little nervous about is your king position. Why? Well, I mean, the knight coming to g4, maybe freeing up a square for your bishop, that's not going to matter. Because you're going to hang a knight on g5. So that knight is pretty precarious out there. You got to calculate carefully here. So this move I don't like, though, dude. I mean, why do you want to break up your own pawns? I don't like d takes e5 from a strategic standpoint. You know, you're just breaking up your own pawn chain. So the h3, that's something I would play. You know, it looks like he's getting a lot of pressure on your center, but it's not. Let's say rook d8. Rook d8, maybe queen e2. And all of a sudden, everything's protected and you're threatening his a6 pawn. That's kind of cool. So you just keep him Karpovian style, keep him contained with h3. Alright. Are you one of the flat earth people, Mr. Coffee? I never expected it. D takes e5. And now all hell breaks loose. Becomes a tactical onslaught. Knight g4. And then it looks like you have the same tactics with knight takes f7 here. But he didn't find his way to playing that. You have crazy tactics with knight takes f7 or even rook takes f7 with the idea that the knight is overloaded on g4. Or its defense is overloaded. So you had some crazy possibilities here. Rook takes f7, knight takes f7, knight takes e3, knight takes h6, check, king h8, knight f7, check, draw by repetition. If you want to, you can go here. This is just a sampling of the goodies available, you know, for both sides. So bishop f4, trying to keep some sort of level of sanity. But now you've got this c5 square. And this is why I didn't want to go there, man, with the d6e5. When you play d6e5, there's all this stuff that's like breaking open. And just... then the king position becomes an issue, you know? So my real... It's funny, like, this is the move that doesn't get a question mark or something. But, like, once you d6e5, you put yourself in this, like, this path where you have to... Now you have to literally, like, play, like, perfect tactically. I would have played a lazy move. So, apparently, you know, he can try a knight f2 check. That's the tempting move, right? So now you've got to give up the exchange. And there's that my move from earlier, knight h3 is possible. Here. Pretty good game, you know, at the end of the day. Kind of logical, rook d8, but it gives you time to build up more pressure. Now this suddenly looks really ominous. You're threatening the crushing e6, I guess. You know, his queen is almost trapped in mid-board. I mean, he literally has one square here at c5. He basically set him up. He just set himself up for this. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry, guys. So, here we are, e6. I mean, rook d7 is just a blunder. And, you know, the move has been on the horizon for the last two moves. He walked right into it. And he plays the best. Rook e1. Queen again, almost trapped, driven back. I think he played fairly well. So what if he just plays king h8, then knight e6 is crushing? So I had to do this. He went for the exchange here. Inaccuracy by the computer. I mean, whatever, man. I would have played knight e6 too. I'm not a computer, you know. Rook takes e6. Bishop takes e6. You got your exchange back. And at the end of the day, the smoke is cleared. White is up a clear pawn down the middle. Playing American football, this pawn is striving for a touchdown. But in a real game, I mean, he's not completely hopelessly lost. I guess we could somehow strengthen the pressure on this pin, but where is it? e5 followed by knight g5 or what? It's not that easy. It's just not that easy. Okay, what do you do? Bishop c8. Bishop takes check. Rook takes check. I missed something. I don't know that I would have done that, you know. Bishop takes f7. Just, yeah. Nothing clear for me with bishop takes f7. I probably would have taken on c8. Or just left the tension, you know. Maybe I would play h3, like making a constructive move. The computer wanted to play bishop h4, setting up knight g5, strengthening the pawns, like, you know, power or whatever. But I guess this is actually pretty good. You're threatening knight g5. He's got to play h6. I mean, anybody should see that. But he didn't. Or maybe he saw it and thought this was some sort of defense. I would have played knight g5. Here. Yeah, no. There's got to be something for white. Bishop h4. Simply winning. There's no back rank threats. Good game. I think you played better than he did. I mean, it's easy to say that at the end, but, you know, throughout, I'm just not sure about d takes e5. I would have maintained the tension there. Okay, guys, we got our last two games for today. I would like to go over the games with Ubatis and Move 11. Soltigo if we have time at the last moment. Thank God the stream is working. Thanks for supporting the stream, guys. You can always make a donation via Streamlabs. Under the stream on Twitch, you can make a donation. The link button there, the Panda. Click on the Panda. Also, thanks for subscribing, especially you guys here tonight. A lot of my regulars. Thanks for being here almost every stream and really making it possible. Ubatis is up next. I'd like to have this analyzed. We need the ambulance. We got to work on that Saturday, if you have time. Larger ambulance emotes. Okay, so Ubatis just submitted a game from the Chess 960 tournament in the chess capital of the world. What? Anyway, St. Louis. St. Louis, as some people think, is the chess capital of the world. I don't quite find that logical. It's also flat Earth, but whatever. It's obviously Rex Sinkfield's capital of the world. D4, D5, F3. This is Chess 960, so adjust yourselves to the board here. Take a moment to familiarize where the pieces are. This is actually a really good setup, I think, for Chess 960. I mean, I don't know how randomly they chose these, but I mean, the rook's on their original squares, bishop's on squares where they can really influence kind of long diagonals, and the knight's in the center. I mean, this is a good starting position for chess 960. An elo for looking at the game. Yeah, I almost dropped something on the floor. Yeah, I don't know. 1850, 1900. But I'm talking about the average. You want me to give you an elo rating for the way you played? You personally, just you, and not thinking about the black? You know, you probably played like 1950 elo. Alright, Sam Shanklin. But this is off the top of my head, man. I'm just guessing. What happened? Did I circle all those pieces? Alright, get rid of that. So this is Paschall against Sam Shanklin from Chess 960. Alright, they played d4, d5. No real threats. And then f3. Okay, this is a dramatic move, you know, honestly. I've never analyzed the Chess 960 game, I just realized. It's the best move. I don't know how much chess opening theory these guys know in Chess 960 opening theory. But it's interesting here that Paschall finds what Stockfish considers to be the best move. We go back to the starting position. That's not the case. He played a quiet move on move 1. It's kind of ironic, because like if you play f3 right away on move 1, I mean you got an open diagonal for the bishop on g1. But if you, I guess it's too weird to play f3 on move. But after this, when he plays like f3, I mean the bishop's on a closed diagonal. Maybe the larger point is that the knight has f2. It certainly wouldn't be my first pick here with white. I think I would go with like maybe knight d3, but I'm notoriously bad at Chess 960 openings. So f3, and then Sam Shanklin cops out and does the copycat. Ubantis here analyzed c6, the end move, it looks like. Okay, f6. It's easy to just be a copycat in Chess 960. Knight d3, knight d6. And so immediately, wow, Paschall sacks a pawn in the center. Dude, this is crazy. Straight out of the gate, he finds this interesting gambit style of move. Gotta give him credit, man. I mean, that is crazy. He just sacks a pawn. Exclam. And Shanklin, now, you know, playing the symmetrical approach, copycat style, is going to give your opponent some chances. And obviously he's black, so what can he do? D takes e4, f takes e4. E5 is the first move that comes to mind. Or taking the pawn. Is there some kind of direct refutation of knight takes e4? I mean, why is this so bad that it's not in the top 2 suggestions? Oh my god, that's a queen. I seriously did that? Wow. Okay, I'm embarrassed. I forgot this was a queen here. It's late. This is almost one of the last games. Alright, now I understand why this move is easier to find. I thought he was sacking a pawn. I thought this is a king here. Oh man. That's why Chess 960 is hard. I'm used to the pieces being on like their normal squares, and I haven't been playing a lot of Chess 960 lately. We need to play more, but I forgot the queen is actually protecting e4. So Shanklin allowed this. I mean, he doesn't have a choice. So e5 looks like, you know, would be the stable move. Instead he plays this. Bishops are not close range pieces, you know. I think this is kind of weird. The weird part is also, though, if you play knight e3, bishop a6, and we're in a pin, and this pawn is hanging here on e4. So it's not that clear. What can we do? This is the game. Knight e3, bishop a6. I haven't seen this game before, guys. c6 is another game. Okay. Then a very strange move from very strange move from Paschall here. He played knight f5. I mean, you know, you're moving the same piece twice. I was just telling Acerbate not to do this, you know, to move your same piece twice. Crazy. Anyway, knight takes f5, g takes f5, or e takes f5, queen b5. What I'm seeing from this game immediately is, like, you know, basically Shanklin's tactical acumen. Visionary with the pieces. Waits a little overextended. He immediately jumps out with his chance to grab a pawn here on f5. Bishop f2. And then, okay, this is a natural mistake. Queen takes b2. Damn, dude. So, what we see is Shanklin's sharpness tactically. Queen b5. And now white has to find a tactical antidote. And it turns out that Paschall, of course, like me, is like concerned about f5, and he's just totally overlooking b2. Looking the wrong way. I don't feel so bad about missing that the e4 pawn was protected by the queen now. After seeing what happened in the game, this is how hard chess 960 is. Even for top grandmasters. Queen takes b2. Basically winning a rook. Castles. Queen takes rook. There's no compensation. This is like sheer desperation. Shanklin just takes it. Queen b4. Now in chess 960 I kind of understand not resigning because you're down a rook. You know, it's a weird position. Maybe the other guy will make a mistake. Rook e1, castles. Perfectly played by Shanklin basically. c6. I mean, opening up the next bishop, man, it makes sense. And Paschall is just desperate. Looks like it's just lost. Can we take another pawn now? What's going on? There's this open threat. If you take on e6, that becomes a problem. So really nice play. a5, d5. Again, Paschall is just like desperate. And Shanklin just cool, man. I mean, he's just trading off his bishop with bishop a7, eliminating one more piece. Really, really pretty game. Just over. This is chess 960. That was like insane, dude. What was his center pawn loss there? Like nothing? I mean, he must have had a very, very low center pawn loss. Shanklin with black. Nice game. Okay, guys, we're getting close to the end of the stream. I'm going to do the last game, which is the move 11 submission here. Please support the stream, guys. Subscribe. Tomorrow I'm going to be back with Steel Knight. What's up? Tomorrow night I'm going to be back with, tomorrow morning, excuse me, 10 a.m. I'm going to be back with Fast Blitz, 5+3 tomorrow morning. Anybody can play. So as long as you've got like 100 games and a sort of established rating, I'll play you. 5+3 Blitz tomorrow, 10 a.m. here with the Ponda and I. Chess 960, I think, you know, Ironian is pretty good. I didn't know, you know, I don't know Shanklin that well. We played a couple times. Okay, but I know that he's very tactically oriented. Hepler versus move 11. This is funny. This is a guy that I knew from my chess club 30 years ago in New Jersey. And then move 11 ends up playing the guy. An old friend of mine. Very funny. It's good to know that some things don't change after 30 years. When I first started playing chess, I played the same guy. So move 11 is black here. It's a Nimzo. d4, knight f6, Nimzo. Queen c2. So this is really the sharpest move against the Nimzo, I guess, other than, say, f3. White fights for the control of e4. Fights for control, the e4. The other move, I don't think that f3 is as good because it weakens white's king side, doesn't develop a piece. But it's a very, very dangerous move. Black has to be well prepared here. Queen c2, though, more the main line. Classical Nimzo. So there's so many different ways to play for black. I've been playing b6, but that's a very, very risky move that I've been exploring here in my streams on Lead Chess. I lost very badly in my simul 2 weeks ago against a guy in this line with e4, c5, d5, queen e7. I haven't quite worked out the kinks, this kind of offbeat variation here. That's my line at the moment. Morozevich favored. But so move 11 decides to castle, which is one of the main variations. White plays a3, bishop takes c3. This is rather standard. And here, yeah, what am I thinking? So queen takes c3. Well, there's like so much theory on this position, move 11. It's like beyond comprehension. Kasparov probably played the queen c2 Nimzo. Anything that like world champions have played has become kind of popular almost automatically. Now black played d5. I've never played this position for black. b6 is the main line. And I have played this quite a bit in Blitz. I'm just trying to think if you can play c5. This position c5 is not good. There is the Gambit b5 move 11. I don't know if you've ever looked at this, but it was recommended by like Andras Shadorian many years ago. You know, and I think this is sound. It's just sound. You sack a pawn. After c takes b5, c6, and there was somebody who played a6. I don't know who. Some crazy grandmaster, but wait, let's see. Just out of curiosity. It's Vitalinch, right? Vitalinch. But these games are too old to be in this opening explorer. So some people are actually playing this. Whoa. The old school. A6. I'm not sure if Adorian actually talks about A6 or not. But like Inch played it. He's absolutely crazy. Stefansson and Hjartarson. So the Icelanders are getting interested in this. But C6 is a really good line. Very respectable variation for black. You're playing Gustafsson's. He's not Icelandic. As much as it sounds like it. Alright, they're not all Icelandic. So B6. So you're playing Jan's recommendations. Okay, D5. I mean, I always thought it seemed counterintuitive, you know, to trade off your bishop and then play D5. But this is known. Difficult to say what the best move is. Let's just go through the opening here. So now D takes C4. Hold on a second. But now we're transposing to another line. This is a solid variation for black. So if I were white, I probably wouldn't play bishop g5 here, because there's actually this guy, this Hungarian grandmaster Atzel Gergo, who was playing this variation for a while. He had several games in this line where he was able to get no advantage. So it's d takes c4, queen takes c4, b6. This is good for black. I mean, at least equalizes. But I guess bishop g5 has to be deemed a mistake then. I mean, if d takes c4, queen takes c4, b6 is good, then white should play something else here. Just the standard like knight f3. This isn't quite as good. I mean, d takes c4. Let's see. Queen takes c4, and you still do b6? Well, apparently it's good no matter what. Okay. I guess it cast doubt on the whole a3 scheme, then. You know? Seems like a good recommendation. So just simply take and d5. Okay, e3. Maybe that's a better way to go for white. Ultimately, to keep some kind of microscopic advantage, play it more like a Bogo Indian or something. This seems more lasting. We could try to play like b3 and bishop b2, and maybe the bishop advantage will remain. Some sort of advantage will remain. Yeah, I guess I like d5 too. Now that I see you can play b6 against everything. But this is super solid. This is just super solid. I was going to play this against Atzel too, but in the last minute, I was afraid like he would stop playing this variation or something. I literally prepared it, and then I was like, wait, I'm not going to do it. Maybe he'll like play something else. It was weird. So this is standard. Knight f3, bishop a6, and should be pretty comfortable for black. I mean, the main idea is to play c5. I think you're going to play c5 at all costs to bust out, even if it meant you have to like sack a pawn or something. Probably. You got to break free. And white's got to be careful that his king is still in the center of the board. I've lost more than one time with white in the classical Nimzo because I did play it for a while. I lost because basically my king got trapped in the center. Your kingside development is delayed. And it's not often possible to castle queenside. Queen c2, knight on bd7, and the plan is c5. I would suppose that g3 is a reasonable option, though. Apparently even better for black. Wow. Even Anand has a game there. So e4. Theory. White leaves the king in the center for permanently, you know. But queen c8. Bishop takes f1. I mean, it seems weird. It seems kind of weird not to play bishop takes f1. Move 11. Because you permanently disrupt him. If you play queen c8, I mean, there's a chance he can take on c8 and maybe... But what's he going to do? I mean, there's still pressure on e4. It's interesting. So move 11 here following, I don't know if still following recommendation or not, but this was played by Ding Liren. He actually lost against Korobov. But if this doesn't work out, man, I mean, there's nothing wrong with bishop takes f1. I think you got Kramnik versus Kasparov from their World Championship match. Or actually, that's earlier. This is earlier. It's not from the World Championship match. Let's see, 1998. Just some tournament, I guess. Okay, queen c8. He plays bishop d3. Well played by White, you know, for not being a high-rated player. He knows the theory here really well. So Jan recommends h6. Wow. That looks kind of slow, dude. h6? That's weird. It's a computer move. What happens if White just keeps... If he just keeps the tension with, like, bishop h4? There's no way you should give up the bishop. Then you play c5, I see. This is very sharp. This is where sacking a pawn. I think there was a game like Anna Geldiev against... There was some guy that played last year in the tournament in Balaton that I played in. There was an open. Atzel Gergo against Anna Berdiev, or I don't know what the guy's name is. Some hard to pronounce name. Yeah, this is fine for black too. White's too far behind in development. Here, 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 here. You break out, and you're fine. Could you take on d4 though? I mean, the plan is to destroy the center. Obviously, you were concerned about queen takes c8, having to take back with the bishop there. That is kind of weird. It reminds me of a Petrosian Queen's Indian now. And then just like queen b7. Alright, yeah, that's weird. So you just made a blunder. I mean, it just seems to follow. Like, you take here, you're pressurizing e4. And if he goes e5, you have a lot of moves. I mean, you could just... There is a problem with knight g5, though. Wait a second. There's this. That'd be a very unpleasant surprise at the last minute in a variation here. That could be a bad scene. How about queen e4? This doesn't work. The knight gets trapped. Oh, that's sick. Alright. So you have to play like knight to d5 and accept slightly worse position, it looks like. Though you have pressure against the b pawn. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're not really worse. You know the worst structure. He still has this, though. You're just threatening knight f4. So it turns out you have a defense. Here, h5. With the threat of knight f4, I guess black's okay. You hang on there. So g takes f. h6 first, not knight on bd7. This is what we looked at? Anyway, I mean, it's the same thing. And then you go c5. That's what we looked at. Alright. So let's see what happened in the game. You took on d4. He takes back. But this is a kind of disaster. Now it looks like a Vienna variation. Looks like you're playing like Zoltan Ribley. You're still in Zoltan Ribley analysis. It's a draw, but black has to suffer for like 30 moves or something. Yeah, I mean, this is dangerous. I wouldn't jeopardize my kingside voluntarily. You know, with the queen still on the board. But I guess you were scared of e5, knight g5 type of stuff. You had to calculate that line we were just talking about, and that's not that easy to do. I'm sure that Matt was afraid of this, you know. And it just turns out that you're barely okay here. You have to calculate a lot to make that work. Yeah, bishop takes f6. Please subscribe, guys, and support the stream. Tomorrow we're going to be back at 10 a.m. Rook e1, c takes d4, knight takes d4. I mean, I'd be playing king h8 like the computer here. It doesn't seem like rook c8 is that big of a priority, but your king's safety is a really big priority, you know. So apparently he was winning with knight b5. So a big advantage that he's almost winning. And again, you see, the problem is now black's like playing for the win, but it's too late to play for a win here. You have to be practical. This is probably like a draw at best. It's symmetrical, and you have a worse structure, and you have worse king position. You can't objectively play this position for a win. You know, I'd be like liquidating the rooks so fast and offering a draw here. If he's too low rated, then you shouldn't be playing him. You know, if you're unwilling to have a draw, I guess. Your king can still evacuate here to f8, maybe toward the center. In the endgame, you'll be okay. But I would definitely trade pieces. With this move, you're like looking for a fight. You know, I mean, it seems a little crazy. And he just blundered a tactic. Ouch. And then he trades queens after blundering. This looks like confidence issues. You know, like. Or just white is tired. He played a great game, then he hung a pawn. Then he tries to trade queens. I mean, why do you want to trade queens after blundering a pawn here? Now white probably has to keep the queens on. So this is great. He just hands you the game. Trading queens down a pawn. We were joking about that. Someone was mentioning the Feingold jokes about that. Yeah, I like all my opponents to... This was... Yabatis told me just today. He likes all his opponents to... He likes them to trade pieces after they drop pawns. It's a good strategy. So you got to this position, very good endgame, but white's hanging on by a thread. Good move. Good move. Yeah, fixing his isolated pawn there looks like an excellent choice. This is the last game, guys. Here was awkward because you like pinned yourself. Knight e5. Knight e5 doesn't allow him to pin you along the c-file, I guess. Yeah, you made that note there. Very, very accurate analysis. Giving him the c-file gave him counterplay. And that's awkward. Nice job. Now apparently he's got like full compensation. Wow. White's showing some experience in the endgame here. Though black getting the king to a strong position, not a bad idea. And now you're losing the pawn back. So what can we do? We don't have knight b5, knight c7, excuse me. We have to wait for white to take the pawn. And now we just simply have a knight ending. With an extremely strong king for black. But the problem is he's got the outside passed pawn. I mean, this is just dangerous. So it's objectively like a draw, it looks like. After this, it's very simplified. So this is a clear draw. I mean, probably even if he didn't have a b pawn, due to the dysfunctional pawn structure, even like knight n4 against knight n3, knight n3 is probably a draw. So good game, man. Not bad. Don't worry about it. He played fairly well. Yeah, you had a winning position at one point. But chess is a struggle. He definitely played well for his rating. You can't win this position, man. And he's still playing passively. And still it's not possible to win. This is just exchanging pawns. You gave yourself a passer. I mean, that's a hope, right? Knight d5 check. King here. Knight c7. I mean, the real hope, right, would be to play f4 and then play h3 if he lets you, to create two connected passed pawns. All right, Soltigo, we'll see you tomorrow morning. We're going to close the stream down here, guys. Going to play through the last moves. G3. H3, practical try. Knight B5, F5. Knight C3 check here. King E, yeah, I mean, as long as you don't have two connected passed pawns, I don't think you can win. Good endgame play by white. And I have to be careful not to lose. So, go after the pawn. This is a dead draw. And he could have played takes immediately. He played it out to the bitter end. Now you got to be careful that pawn doesn't go anywhere. White's playing for the win now. That's it, guys. End of game. Thanks for watching and tuning in. Soltigo, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. And thanks from the Panda. Chess Panda, our mascot here. Thanks, guys, for subscribing. See you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Blitz, fast blitz here, 5+3 tomorrow morning. Okay? Don't forget the bamboo. And don't forget, pandas are carnivores, too. So bring the crabs, all right? Bye-bye. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.